That's close, right?
All right. Yeah, they're gonna be out here. We're just gonna talk loud. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host. We're a little late to the podcast. All right.
What is this for? Because I know this is all what I want. Either way. Oh, the master, huh?
Right.
I want this one. You know, put everything else back. Yeah. No, this was always been my very favorite.
There.
Plus the diamond.
All right.
What are the same colors?
Now, these are all gone, so I can see who's chatting with us.
That's weird. Some kind of lavender. Yeah. Yeah, me too. I do that too. You mix the, me too. That's just the same color.
All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host. Dysfunction's World.
It's the boy said, aka Mr. Let's Talk on YouTube, IG.
And we got a special guest.
What's up, man? It's your boy Hollywood Meeks, man, representing the Strangers Elevated Underground.
All right. Give me 1 second. This phone is loading.
It's all right though, but we still gonna come back with a great show.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We definitely here to talk tonight. Hope everybody's enjoying. Hope everybody had a great weekend.
Mine. Yeah.
What is this from on? All right, so we got Dream. Hey, Dream.
What's up, Dre?
Thank you.
Salutations.
Loving the black wardrobe. Appreciate it. Thank you. I like it all black. All right, Divine. Greetings, guys. Checking in from work. Every joy of the night. Thank you, Lydia.
What's up, Lydia?
Well, for some reason, I can't get. I got a trick for it.
What he said?
No, not yet. You having trouble yourself, man?
Sorry, I didn't even use it.
Very much.
How y'all doing tonight? And the title is Reflection. No, Realization. I'm sorry. Title Realization. The subject is. If you knew how quickly people forget about the dead, you would stop living to impress people. What do y'all think about that?
I think that's a great topic, especially once you break it down and you think about it. You know what I'm saying? That's powerful.
We'll break it down for us, sir. Dive in.
All right, so
I'm gonna play devil's advocate tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
okay.
Whatever he says, I'm going totally opposite.
That should be interesting. All right, so I think if you realize how quickly, once you pass on, transition from this earth, whatever term you may use, how quickly people tend to forget you. Not only your loved ones, but just like friends, stuff like that. Then you'll stop living to that person. You'll stop trying to buy them clothes just so they can like you, or spend your money on them, or take them to the club, that kind of stuff.
But what if all you have is that moment that people like you, and you need to impress them? You feel like you need to be the one that does something great for people to remember you by.
I feel like it's just legacy. Like I don't agree with the whole the whole living to impress. If we like squash it down, yeah, that's whack, for lack of a better term. But I believe leaving behind a legacy is something totally different. And I think that's important because nobody's gonna remember what kind of clothes you wore, what kind of car you had. They're gonna remember how you made them feel.
Yeah.
Which is true. But okay, so just to throw a curveball in there.
Okay.
Have y'all both seen Paid in Full?
I had one of my favorite movies all the time.
Mine too. Mitch said a very important statement. He said, "Will they still love me when I'm gone?"
Mm-hmm.
And
The only thing that really matters.
case, it probably would have been no.
Huh?
In his case, probably would have been no because of his occupation.
Right.
He knew why he was getting that love.
But he became a legend behind his death.
Oh, that's true.
There's profit in this.
So when people say,
Absolutely.
you know what I'm saying? When people say, stop trying to impress people, that life is too precious, and people forget about you. Well, his brother sold dope
Right.
and was good at selling dope.
Legendary.
And you know what I'm saying? And he got killed because he wanted to get some dope to get his brother back. A man killed this man because he had dope and he wanted to sell to get his brother back.
True.
100%.
So with that being said, appreciate it. With that being said, he got remembered for the stuff that he did that was negative.
Well, death is inevitable
It is.
if you break it down, but at the same time, I think he got remembered for his legacy. His legacy just happened to be in the dope game.
What did he leave behind?
He didn't leave back. I remember we're talking about him right now, and he's been dead for what 20, 30 years.
30.
So I mean,
And they still praise him. I'm saying,
Right,
you know,
yeah, for sure.
But that's what I'm saying. So if you out here trying to impress people and you have a legacy that lives 20, 30 years,
Right.
was that not a successful life?
Well, but would you say that he was trying to impress people? I don't think he was trying to impress people.
Yeah.
Well,
A new car every week,
Well, no, that's because
or a different car every day of the week.
I think that was in his lane, his lifestyle.
Right, I think that was more like
in
himself.
the game he was in, that's what you did. It's kind of like if you break it down. Let's say a football player, you're a running back. When you go out there, you playing for your team, but at the same time, you want to get your stats because you want to be great. And in the dope game, you know, they wasn't smart enough to know about stocks, bonds, and putting it there. Theirs was face value. So, hey, I'm selling the most dope. I had the Beamer last week. I got to show you I got the Benz this week.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So
Yep.
even with that being said, like there's a ton of drug dealers that are not remembered.
That's true.
There's a
Right.
ton of football players that never scored a touchdown.
Right.
That's right.
So they're not remembered because they didn't They didn't do something legendary.
They may not on what
They were
what
good enough
scale.
to make it to the pros.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is legendary in their microcosm.
That's what I would think. You know what I'm saying? If you make it to the pro, you should be a legend because
Right.
you did something everybody else can't do.
Right.
Well, I'm sure they're legends at their high school, in their community,
Right.
in their hood, they're legends because they made it.
Or like
Right.
Stephon,
Stephon?
not well him too, but I was gonna say his cousin.
Oh yeah.
Chris McGarry?
No, the one that went to Lincoln. I know.
Yeah.
Telfair. Sebastian.
Oh,
Telfair.
Sebastian Telfair, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
He a legend.
He's a
on
legend.
Twitter.
Yeah,
New York,
yeah,
yeah.
in New York.
Right, playground legend. I mean, it's like if you make it to the pros, to the big league, you a legend in your area. But then once you get up there, it's gonna determine what you do while you up there. You know what I'm saying? Are you gonna be like you said, Sebastian Telfair, Zab Judah, who was a great fighter in my opinion, but I'm
He
saying
was a great fighter. He just
overrated,
he
you know,
just-
underrated, excuse me.
he wasn't underrated. He wasn't overrated.
He was a world champion.
Right.
I think
he
he was a champ.
underrated.
But he took okay.
You think he was trying to impress people?
He was trying to impress people, but he made a mistake in life. If you spar with someone and they beat you up, how you gonna get in the ring and beat somebody that spars with you and beat you up every time?
But that's the difference between. I think that's to even piggyback on what we're talking about. I think that's what greatness is. To like
Take a risk.
to take a risk, man.
Yes,
It's- that's what it's about. You know what I mean? Like to
That
be
makes
great,
sense. That
you
makes
gotta
sense.
take risks. Like it's not to me about going off the topic of what we're talking about. Like, is it worth impressing people when people are forgotten when they're dead? But in the words of my guy Jay-Z, I'd rather die enormous than to live dormant.
Okay.
Facts.
Okay.
Facts, because
That's a deep one there.
impressing people, I mean, that's not what this is about. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not life. It's just
If you go off and be great, I think people will be impressed regardless.
bang. There you go.
So I don't think it's
Without
like you're
intention
trying.
to do it.
Yeah, I
Right.
think if you strive for greatness in whatever level of greatness that is, we got some stuff going on in the background. But if you strive for greatness, whatever greatness is, I think some people will be impressed, and you're gonna get criticism at the same time too.
Right. Absolutely. That's true. That's
So
true.
how far do you go to be great?
As far as it takes. far as it takes.
So there's no limit on how far you
No.
can go.
If it's something that I feel like I want to be great about, I'll go to the grave trying to do it.
Okay. So where you have
But now I will say this, not to cut you off. There is a moral standard that comes with my greatness.
Absolutely.
okay.
I do have a ceiling when it comes to things that I will do to reach greatness when it comes to my moral compass.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Moral
Yep.
compass. Hey.
No, none of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not doing no soul selling
Mm-mm.
to reach my
I,
greatness.
I like the word you use, no soul selling.
Okay.
I would say something else, right? Right. Absolutely. No, to be great. I mean, but you see a lot of them doing it, and I ain't trying to call them out, but like Lil Nas X, he's using that to his advantage.
He is.
You know
All
what I'm
right,
saying?
we got a comment. If they remember you after you die, how about what they remember you for after you die? What's up, Hakeem?
Shout out.
What's up, bro? That's a great one right there. But
I mean, like, okay, so for instance, like,
more people get love when they do.
like they do, but
You know,
okay, so Nipsey's dead and gone.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Nipsey was a good rapper. He was a great rapper.
Yeah,
Actually, a great rapper. I ain't gonna say he was
yeah, he
good.
was very dope.
He was
Shout out
a
Nip.
great rapper, but when he was gone, it's like that's when he finally reached that pivotal point that he was striving for.
Right,
Yep. Yep.
But in the same token, he's gone now.
right.
So we don't have no more, like what memory, we have fake memories.
I think us as a culture, that's something we have to stop doing. I think we should give people flowers while they're here.
A lot.
I believe
Yeah,
that's very important. But I also believe if Nipsey wouldn't have passed, where would he be right now? Because a lot of people didn't get on to him till he passed, which
That's
is
it. That's
terrible.
true. That's true.
Which is
That's
terrible.
right.
But his passing
But
opened up
that's how
everything.
that legacy. That's
Yeah.
how that game goes too.
Which is terrible, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Big Ed. Big Ed didn't get his props until
Right.
he was dead and gone.
Yep.
Right.
Big Pun.
Big
He
Pun.
wasn't great
Phenomenal.
until after he was dead.
Phenomenal.
Uh,
Ali didn't get his props after he couldn't talk, and he was. Let's
I don't
be
know
real.
now. I don't know because Ali did get celebrated in his prime.
From by us, but not by the masses.
Right.
The masses didn't like him till he couldn't talk no more.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Of
Okay.
course, he was our hero for sure.
Right.
But when we
Black
talk about
Superman.
right, but in the
Put
masses,
him in jail.
and I say
all kinds of-
masses, you know what I mean when I say
Right.
masses.
Right.
He wasn't celebrated till he couldn't talk.
Right. They want to feel him.
All right,
They
Devon,
wanna
be
feel
back.
him. For real.
You know. So
So, what do you feel? I guess. What do you feel that a legacy is for real? Because people die and it's meaningless when they're dead. Because people die meaningless deaths. Was the death worth what they lived?
I think it depends on what you put down. What seed did you plant before you left? Because okay, let me break it down for this. In this terms right here. I maybe one or two people in here may know my father, right?
Okay.
But he's gone. He passed
right.
away. But to me, he was a legend.
Okay.
So the legacy I leave by, what the legacy I'm doing is him.
Okay.
And so everything I do, I try to put my father in there and mention him, as it's his podcast. I'm mentioning him, James Robinson. He set the
You keep it
foundation
alive.
for me.
Keep it
So,
in his memory alive.
What I'm laying down is bricks he gave me. So the
Okay.
world may not know his name, but as long as I'm going, I'm gonna put these bricks down so they know mine. And by knowing my name, they gonna know his.
I like that. I like
Right.
that.
I think a legacy gives you something to work for that you can't touch. You know what I'm saying? That you can't tangibly just get your hands on, but it's bigger than anything that you can touch. You know what I'm saying? Your legacy, if it's the right legacy. Because we all know super famous people, you was famous, even after they died, they were famous, but 10 years later, they was forgotten.
And you can have a bad legacy too.
And you can have a bad legacy,
Your
right?
legacy can be
What
bad.
would be a bad legacy?
Joe Jackson,
A bad legacy.
he beat his
He's
kids.
still alive, but Nicky Barnes. He gonna go down as
They
a
ain't
rat.
alive no more.
Nicky Barnes has passed away, the drug dealer.
did.
Well, he's gonna always be a rat. Everybody's gonna know that he was a rat.
And even with that, like a rat. Okay. This is my problem with that one. A rat. Alpo. Alpo's a rat.
He is.
But before he was a rat, he was still murdering cats.
He was.
So he's a rat in conversation.
Right.
But if you see him walking down the street, you don't be like, hey, Alpo, you a rat.
Right. But see, in that narrative too, That's because in face value, people are afraid. That's why some people are afraid to admit your legacy when you're alive. But when he goes, when he dies, the narrative will be he was a rat.
Right.
And that's his legacy.
And it's funny because compare him to somebody like a 6ix9ine, who people are regularly calling him a rat to his face. They don't fear him.
Right.
They fear Alpo. They ain't gonna say that to Alpo.
I ain't gonna say they don't feel 6ix9ine because a lot of
6ix9ine ain't finna. I mean, but
if people really want to do something to them, for instance, like if people really wanted to live to these
They
Wild
can do
Wild
it.
West ideologies,
Right.
there wouldn't be a George Zimmerman walking around.
I agree 100%.
facts.
I agree
So
100%.
that's what I'm saying. So like Trayvon was taken from us for no reason, and Trayvon didn't mean anything to us until he was taken.
Right.
We didn't know Trayvon. Trayvon could have been any Joe Blow black kid in the street.
Right.
Right. Absolutely.
But when George Zimmerman did that, okay, now Trayvon means something.
Mhm.
But George is still alive.
But that's it. Okay, so it goes back to this too. But look at that legacy. With the legacy thing, you have to take it with, like, what does it really mean? Because yeah, he died. He was a young kid that died, but him doing that sparked something.
Right.
It made something. So his legacy will live forever.
And you look
Okay,
at
another
legacy-
comment. Hold on, my
Okay.
fault.
No, you good.
I think what you meant to people is more important than fame and status.
Absolutely. Yes.
For sure.
Yes, what you mean to somebody is way more important than fame and status.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's if that's your goal to be, you know, like the fame and the status, you're chasing the wrong thing. You know what
I
I'm
mean,
saying?
I
Especially
think-
the fame part, like
So like when you mentioned 6ix9ine, I think that was what he was chasing, fame and status.
yeah, but and absolutely. And what I was saying before was people try to get at 6ix9ine all the time. They try. Ain't no one fears. Not saying that he don't have a gun or security or whatever.
Right.
People just don't fear him.
Right.
They try, they hardest, you know, when they see him, they call him snitch and all. They don't do Alpo like that. Alpo walk in the club, he was in the club, they got footage. Nobody said nothing to him.
That's what I'm saying.
They fear because, like you said, they know he was a killer.
Okay.
6ix9ine wasn't no killer, never been a killer. He just ran with gang members who were killers. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, don't nobody fear him, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, matter of fact, he not even a good example. I shouldn't even brought
And
him.
also to piggyback on that comment,
Okay.
what you mean to somebody over here, you may mean totally different to somebody over here.
That's true.
Man.
That's true.
Yep.
So your legacy may not have to do with fame, but to some, it's like my father, he was famous to me.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
yeah,
right.
And my father didn't
Right.
sing or rap or do nothing,
Yep.
but he was famous to me. And
Okay.
I'm in entertainment,
Right.
so it carries on. So I believe it's all about what you instill in people at the end of the day, how they make you feel. Like, let's say this, Michael Jackson, he dead and gone. To some people, he was this, that, and the third. Though he never was charged, no, he never was found
beat that
guilty,
case.
Never.
and he beat it, and you
Yep.
can look it up.
Yep.
All the charges he beat, he paid out in a settlement to some, but he beat all criminal charges. So, but to some people, they're the reason he did music, and to some people, he's a quote-unquote alleged pedophile.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think the legacy thing and the whole thing, this is just in the eyes of, in the hearts of the beholder, I should say.
So let me ask you this, actually both of you. Is a legacy different when you work for it versus when it's put on you? Like a person passed, and then like we talking about Trayvon.
Okay.
So Trayvon wasn't working towards a legacy, but
Right,
he
that's
passed,
right.
unfortunately, and that created his legacy.
Right, right.
So is that greater, like when you die and then become a martyr, versus you working for your legacy as you're, when you're alive?
Say that again.
Which one is greater or has a greater effect?
Okay.
Like Trayvon passed away and became a legacy, right?
Right.
Versus somebody working to become a legend while they're alive.
So which would be more important, Trayvon or Jay-Z?
Huh? No, I'm saying.
That's what I got from what you said.
Oh, that's a good way to say
Who
it.
would be more important
Well,
at the end of the day?
Which one has a
Trayvon for the
greater
way he,
effect
for
on
the
the
way he
masses?
died,
Right.
or
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z the way he lived?
Right.
The greater effect.
Jay-Z,
greater effect.
Jay-Z.
You think so? I don't know. I'm just asking. Like,
I think Jay would have a bigger, because it's one thing when it's the police.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's a whole entity. This is one person
right.
that y'all allow to still walk the streets.
I think George Floyd, that one incident did more for us as a people than anything Jay-Z has ever done.
I agree, and that's like it's something, and that's why I brought this up. It's something when the masses proclaim your legacy.
If that's
They
the
proclaim
case,
your legacy.
if that's the case, I would say Rodney King did more his situation.
You ain't shit.
Well, no, because they burnt down the whole world
Right,
behind
they-
George Floyd. It was people way overseas
And
burning down stuff.
they burnt down
LA,
LA.
all
Yes.
over.
Yeah, you see that one. That's one, and there was no
Okay.
social media to spread it.
Yeah,
But with George Floyd, we actually watched somebody live action on TV get murdered, and it set people on fire. Even though we haven't got no laws in place hint, hint, to help us with that, but it really made people start to think. And you had police retiring, people telling on people. You know what I'm saying? You had this thing going on.
Right,
So to me,
that's cool.
even though whatever George Floyd, he struggled with drugs, whatever he did, in that moment, even though it was catastrophic, what happened in that situation affected me way more than anything that Jay-Z has done. And Jay-Z is my favorite rapper of all time.
Okay,
I agree.
okay. I
I
can take
agree.
that. I mean, I'm not gonna argue with
And
it.
Jay-Z
That's
has a
your
great legacy.
opinion.
Right.
But I mean,
Jay-Z
like with the Trayvon, I think Jay is bigger than that one.
Okay,
And
yeah.
George Floyd, that was like a shot heard around the world.
Facts. Yeah, definitely.
So it echoed a little different. It ricocheted a
Right.
little different.
Both tragic, both ended in something that nobody can come back from, but the impact was different.
And like I said, with George, it was an entity.
Yes.
You know, it got narrowed down to a person or people, but it was an entity against the whole people.
And I still feel one of the biggest mistakes that we ever made as a community, a culture, as people, is to let Zimmerman get away with it.
Okay.
And I'm not advocating violence or nothing, but what I'm saying is that you have people out here that live this certain life, that are about this, and we do this to each other, we do that, which is whatever. But I feel like us as a people, one of the biggest mistakes we ever did was let George Zimmerman get away with what he did, with no
Yes.
repercussion.
Yes, I agree with that.
I agree with that 1,000%.
But like when we that's what we're talking about. We're talking about legacies and impressing people. I don't know if Huey became a Black Panther to impress people. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if what's his name?
Oh, I wanna go out there and take an ass whooping. Okay, ooh, you such a badass, huh? Somebody gonna really want that?
I think here's my thought. Kev, pick me up.
Okay, so I think that a case like, let me ask you this thing.
Okay.
George Zimmerman,
Okay,
what's his legacy?
a coward.
And that's gonna live with him forever. And that's placed on him by the people. That ain't something he worked for. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's gonna carry him. I don't care if he
I
becomes
mean,
president.
it could probably be changed.
can't.
The narrative. I'm not saying it could be changed.
George
Like,
Zimmerman?
no. I'm not saying it could be changed. Like they're looking at him different. I'm saying the word that they describe him as.
Mhm.
I say coward because
What he did.
Trayvon was 17. Like you've grown
Unarmed.
and you can't beat up a 17-year-old because you attacked him first. So you shoot him. But like somebody else might call him another name.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They might call him, a murderer, a killer, some other than a coward. I call him a coward.
And so I just heard something. I want to bring that up because I think that's a great point. Sandra Bland.
Okay.
That's a great point. That
Okay.
is a great point. She has an awesome legacy.
That's what you like, huh?
I'm sorry. Her legacy
Yeah.
is gonna forever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In a positive way, in a good way. She was a strong sister.
Yeah.
She wasn't playing.
Nah.
And you see what they did. You know what I'm saying? So her legacy is gonna be great forever. George Zimmerman, like I said, I don't care if he feed the hungry from now until.
I'm not saying there's any good deed that he can do that can atone for what he did. But I'm just saying, like, I'm looking at it from a different lens. You got the Black Panthers of the 50s and 60s, and they were actively holding guns and rifles and shooting at police on regular occurrences. 20, 30, 40, 50 years later, we're not the same people.
I agree with that. But that's because every person that rises up to lead us, you kill. And that tends to make people stop wanting to rise up and lead us.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? Because they're gonna kill us. And people are afraid to die. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants that to happen, but at the same time, we all want to lead our people and want better for our people. But folks are scared to do that because you know Big Brother coming.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You know, like in anybody. Look at even in Birmingham, Carlos. They own them. You know what I'm saying? So like whatever anybody who try to rise up to do anything, here comes. When all of a sudden he passed from a heart attack, or he, you know what I'm saying, or whatever.
Yeah.
So you know that kind of stuff.
And that goes back to just legacies. It's like people are afraid to be martyrs. It's just hard. And that's why I say, like, I always say this, I'm an advocate.
Is that what it is? People are afraid to be martyrs now?
I think people are.
I guess because like back in the day they were dying so
because we were fighting for something.
So often.
Yeah.
As you know, it's not like they get killed, they die, they become martyrs so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to think back then, our community was different too.
Okay.
We were way closer, and it was like we were fighting just to be considered human beings, bro.
Right.
And this was in the 60s and 70s.
True.
We were fighting just to be considered humans. So it was like, yo, I'd rather die. If I die and my people get to come up, then it's cool. But now we're in a situation where the powers that be, they throw these shiny things in our face, and they do this, and they threaten us with, you see what happened to him. It's like, now I'm just gonna look out for me. When we come from a place where your legacy, who you are as a person, meant something.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, back in the day, they had it way harder. They were literally fighting for survival. Nowadays, we have so many of us who have made it that we feel like they don't want to join the fight.
All right, we got another comment. If your plan is to free the people, but you get taken out before, what does that mean? Like if you don't complete your mission before you go, did you fail?
If you don't have nobody else to pick up the slack.
I was just about to say that. You gotta plant the seed. It's about the seed.
So
Right.
one of us take up the flight that we want to change something, and we embark on that journey, but we don't complete it, and nobody picks it up after us because they're afraid the same thing is gonna happen to them. That's a failure?
No. I'm saying if let's take myself. Let's say I start a movie, right?
Okay.
And I'm trying to change something, whatever.
All right.
I need to know in my head that if I get to a certain point, they're gonna try to take me out. I need to be grooming somebody.
Okay.
Personally, I need to be grooming somebody to
Vice
follow.
president.
Vice president, right. I need to
Okay.
be grooming somebody so if something happened to me, someone knows exactly what my plan was, what my steps was, what my focus is. Not just a random person who happened to hear about me and know what I was doing. Now, that's good too. But, okay, like Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm X, Farrakhan, blah, blah, blah. And I already know, but I'm just saying,
Right.
that's just a good example because they handpicked the person they predecessor.
But they
You know
didn't
what I'm
pick Malcolm. Malcolm just happened to just succeed the ranks.
Right, that's true, but I'm just saying, in principle, you understand what I'm saying, right?
Okay.
Because, you know, it went from this person to this person
Hey,
to this
Desmond.
person.
I think if you're really doing it, it may not even be your predecessor. I think Tupac said it. He said, "I might not change the world, but I might put a spark in a young man to change it."
It did say
So
that.
I may see you on
Right.
TV and you doing this, doing that, and I may feel empowered, and your death may be like, "Okay, I gotta go do
I can't
this."
knock that one. That's a good one.
That's right.
That's a
That's
real
right.
good one.
And that's true.
Okay, so chasing legacy is a good thing. Receiving legacy is a great thing. Fighting for our people is an even better thing. When does it become okay for impression, for the individual to just say, "Hey, I just want to impress somebody so that they'll remember me in school next week"?
When is it okay?
Yeah.
Never. In my opinion. It's never okay, but if you're just trying to impress somebody in high school, you ain't fighting for nothing. You ain't, you know what I'm saying? You just living on high school
Right.
stuff, you know. I'm gonna go ahead and get this bomber jacket
Okay.
so I can impress you. Get these J's so I can impress you. That ain't going towards that. It don't mean nothing. That ain't going towards your high school legacy.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because you could be the freshest person in school, but made all else.
It comes from a false place.
Right, exactly. Right,
False place,
right.
and that never lasts.
Never. It won't get you nowhere. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But the other stuff that we was talking about, George Zimmerman, that's substance. That's
yeah.
gonna last.
That's
You know what I'm
that's
saying?
meat.
Yeah, exactly. That's the meat.
That's
right.
the meat.
Right.
And this is just like the salad. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like we get these
You
J's
forget the salad.
all the time.
Right.
So
I ain't even eat all my salad today.
not to be antagonists then,
Mhm.
but for every kid that dies at school, black on black crime, white on white crime, any school shooting, mass shooting, these people didn't get a chance to become whoever they were supposed to be.
Now,
Were their legacies
I want
dumb down then?
I want to read
Because
something. I want to tell you something I read.
Like if you say the Columbine people, do they not matter because they didn't achieve anything?
Well, now let me tell you what I read. I read something that goes directly to this.
Okay.
It said the man said he had read somewhere that souls pick the body that they control.
Yeah, we had that conversation earlier.
Exactly. So knowing that these souls pick this body, knowing you're gonna be slaughtered in a school massacre, that's courageous. All the people died for a cause.
Okay.
We'll never forget Columbine. We'll never forget Sandy Hook. We'll never
Okay.
forget
Right.
all these. You know what I'm saying? And these were kids.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So that makes it stick with you more.
So that would be like that. I guess would be equivalent to the 4 little girls.
16th Street Army. Absolutely. Absolutely. Right.
Yeah.
They chose
Right.
those souls chose those bodies
Mm-hmm.
to go through that tremendous, terrific
Right.
event.
Right. And to spark, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. it is.
Revolution.
Right.
Whatever.
Because you see what came about from that.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So
And it goes back to, it's like when we talk about legacy at its purest form, I don't think it's as big as how like people want to make it out to be. Like, I don't think it's as broad, you touching millions. I believe your legacy is sparking something in someone else to go do something else. That's going to spark something in someone else to go do something else. So it may not be
So
a
it's a
worldwide.
constant touching of other
Yeah,
souls.
it may not be like the 4 girls that died.
mm-hmm.
If let's say we never knew about that, and somebody in that city knew about that, and that sparked them to go change and do something, but that sparked something bigger.
Right.
And from that person's teaching, it sparked something bigger.
Okay.
And then that person may grow and be something catastrophic or
Right.
great, or
Right.
not. But the legacy lives on, even though this person may pass, because it keeps going. And I think legacy is way more. It's way on a smaller scale than what we say, because legacy is a big word. But,
It is.
but it also is, it's a small seed, man. I think it's just something you plant.
Because it could be, your legacy could be one person. If you just reach, each one, or each one teach one. So if you just reach one person, like he said, the big boom may not be felt until 3-4 people down the line. Because this person inspired that person, which created the next Tupac.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
real.
So, but it all came from this one person who inspired one person. So, you know, it's, like you said, it don't have to be a million people. It just,
All right, listeners out there. I know this is a deep topic. It's a little different than what we normally do.
I do.
Tell me what y'all think a legacy should be, or what do you think someone's effort at trying to be someone great or something great falls short or doesn't fall short? What do y'all think? When does it fall short?
of a legacy?
Yeah.
Uh,
When does the need to be famous or the need to be somebody important? Because I don't know if every person that's a martyr needed or felt like they needed to be important.
I think that's when it falls short. When you lose direction of what you're doing it for.
Okay.
Because like the main word you just said, your need to be famous.
Okay.
You're setting up your foundation wrong.
right.
Okay.
You should just do.
Right.
Just do. And then if it's meant to be great, you will be great. But always strive for greatness, but know why you do it. Like I said before, there's always a ceiling on the things that I will do
Right.
to reach my greatness.
Okay.
That if it compromises my beliefs and how I believe in on treating people and doing all that, if that's compromised, I don't need it. I can go get my greatness another way. It may not be to touch 1,000 people. It may be to touch these 10.
Right.
You feel me? Because if I go this way, I got to do stuff that's going to mess up my moral compass, and I can't sleep at night. But there's some people that's willing to do that.
Right.
I'm just going to duck off and go for these 10, and hopefully these 10 can go grab. You know? So I feel like once you start getting blinded by, I have to, or I think that's when it gets blurry. You can still be legendary, but I think it gets blurry for you as an individual.
Okay.
Yeah. That's yeah. I agree with that one.
All right.
Because you have to, if you are working to be a legend, what kind of work are you doing to be a legend? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you just, like Kobe Bryant, you know what I'm talking about Kobe. Kobe almost went to the point of not being able to use his hand like we were talking about before anymore for the rest of his life.
To the point of almost going to jail.
Right,
For the rest
to be
of
a
his
legend.
life. Yeah.
Right. And you have to listen to some of the stuff he say, like, I sacrificed time with my kids and my wife, and he got it all back. But I'm just saying, you have to look at that. You
I don't
know what I'm
think he
saying?
got it all back.
I mean, not, but you know what I'm saying. To
Right,
a
right,
certain
right.
He was
degree.
working for it, excuse
Right,
me.
he was working for it. is that a legacy that most people will want? To miss 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years of your kid's life just to play basketball. You know what I'm saying?
So back to the original statement. The original question at hand, the statement was, if you know how quickly people forget the dead, you will stop living to impress people. So all the people you talked about are people that have left legacy. They impress people.
Don't impress people.
But I don't think their intentions was. I think the key word in that whole statement. Read it one more time so I can touch
If
on
you
it.
know how quickly people forget the dead, you will stop living to impress people.
The key word is living to impress someone.
Okay.
Because people that are, if you just living to live and you living quote unquote the right way, you're gonna be remembered. It may be by 1 or 2 people, but you'll always be remembered.
Okay.
But when you living to impress, then that's different. You may impress somebody, you ain't even trying, you just being you. You just doing you. So I feel like, yes, if you're living to impress, you need to stop that.
Okay.
But you definitely need to live to be great as you can be.
Okay.
That's
Really,
true.
really, yeah.
Great as you can be, because you can't live to impress somebody else. Because let's just say you make $1 million and they ain't impressed by that, and now you like, damn, I'm busting my ass to get this million.
You gonna die. You gonna die. It's miserable.
Hey Tanya, thank
What up,
you.
Tanya?
She said, "Hello, black beautiful Mandingos. What's up, Jesse?"
Shout out to you.
Man, dingoes.
Yes.
You were impressing somebody here
Right.
on this
You are planting
panel.
your seed. You are planting your seed.
That was impressive.
That's cool. That's cool. But yeah, you have to when you think about a legacy and what it takes to have a legacy, that's a big word.
It is.
Like,
It
it's
is.
a
Yes,
big
it's a big
word. It's a
word.
big word.
That means
And-
you live forever. Yes.
Right, or the memory
Yeah.
of you. So
No, you live
you
forever
have to
as
understand
a
what
legacy.
encompasses that whole thing, especially when you have kids and you know what I'm saying, all
It's
this
a
other
memory
stuff.
that doesn't
If you ain't
stop.
constantly working to have a positive impact, you know what I'm saying? Because when you got a legacy, I mean, I'm not saying you ain't gonna have no downfalls or no
Right.
sidetrack, but you need to be, for the most part, on the straight and narrow.
Yeah.
So-
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Okay, since you brought that up, you said keyword straight and narrow.
You,
Martin
this
Luther
little
King.
guy right there, we got a legacy.
Okay,
Yeah.
For marching,
Yeah.
and stand up for civil rights.
Absolutely.
Over the last 5, 6
Yeah,
years,
you'll be
they
like
say he
this,
all he
for
did was
sure.
cheat on his wife.
Fact.
Did that tarnish his legacy?
No.
No, not to me. No.
No. You know why?
That's
Because most
personal.
people didn't know about it. And it was personal.
And that's personal.
And the work that he was doing was bigger than that.
You can be legendary and not be perfect.
Okay.
No, the
You're
legendary
not perfect. You can be
perfection,
legendary.
there's no such
You can
thing
be
as
legendary
perfection.
and not be
No.
perfect.
No.
Legendary, even good and legendary are not the same thing. You can be legendary and not as good as good. Yeah.
So I think
Really, you can.
I
Yeah.
don't think that tarnishes his legacy.
Yeah.
Now,
No, not at
now,
all.
if he was taking money on the side, civil
No,
rights
you
money,
can be straight
yeah,
up legendary
He was
and
taking-
not qualify as good.
Take the
Someone else
CLC
is
money
saying-
or whatever.
Yeah.
SCLC?
CMC.
No, SCLC.
he was taking
Something
some.
like that. When that day, Southern Leadership, Christian Conference, something
like that.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, if he was doing that, that's different. But I don't think his infidelity
had nothing to do-
negates who he was as a civil rights leader.
So Jesse Jackson will never have a good legacy.
I'm not a Jesse Jackson fan.
Yeah, me neither.
But before I down, brother, I just want to say nothing.
Right, exactly. I'm not gonna say nothing about Jesse Jackson.
I mean, the only reason I asked is because I guess
He mean well sometimes, I guess.
Okay.
Feel
So-
that.
I
I
guess
think he's trying to impress people.
Nothing to argue with
okay.
there.
I
guess-
agree.
I guess
agree.
my question
I
is,
agree.
Jesse could have been a legendary person if he would have jumped in front of the bullet. Because they say he saw it coming.
Now see that
But then at the same
he
time,
rolled-
but at the same token, JFK's Secret Service would have jumped in front of his bullet, but no one saw it coming.
That's sweet, babe.
You know, I'm a conspiracy theorist, so I'm.
Me too. Supposedly, did you hear what Judge Joe Brown said about that?
What did he say?
Everybody needs to look up what Judge Joe Brown said about the JFK shooting. Good
What
Lord.
did he say?
I think
He
Casey
was
Masada-
the last judge assigned to the case. Judge Joe Brown from TV was the last judge assigned to the MLK case. The person who they arrested for the shooting didn't do it, wasn't even in the state.
JFK.
JFK, pardon me,
Yeah.
wasn't even in the state at the time, which was a black dude, but they knew MLK, I'm sorry, not JFK, MLK.
Okay.
This guy who admitted to doing it, right, wasn't even in town at the time when it happened, but he understood back then.
The one that's locked up still?
That pleading guilty, that pleading guilty to it would have been better than going to trial. They understood that. And this is coming from Judge O'Brien.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, come on, man, this stuff is crazy. But they don't tell you that though. And they don't tell you that everybody who was out there when JFK died, kids and all are dead. Everybody who was on that street that day is dead. That's coincidental. That's just crazy.
Everybody on that street that day is dead.
They said everybody who's on this street that day, kids and all, are now dead. And some of them should still be alive. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just telling you a conspiracy theory that I heard.
Right.
That's crazy. If that's true, that's crazy. That's crazy. Judge O'Brien said there was 2 shooters in that case. 2 shooters.
3
Straight
shooters.
up.
But 3.
The
See what
other
I'm
one,
saying? So
the
he's
other one
giving.
didn't get a chance to shoot though.
Right, that's what he said. Absolutely, right. The other one didn't get a chance to shoot.
Right. Didn't
Right.
get a chance to shoot, but
Right.
Oswald, the dude that killed him, and then the one that would have killed him if they missed.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But we had never heard about all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So now you flip around and you look at legacy. Is JFK a legend? Why is he a legend? You know what I'm saying? Was he a legend because he's a president, or he's a president that was assassinated?
He
has his own legacy, whatever level that is. He still has it.
Oh, I agree. But and the only reason I asked that is because he was killed for what he was doing.
Okay.
He was going against their.
Right.
Yeah.
That's for
So
sure.
he's a legacy for that.
He definitely
You
was.
see what I'm saying? He was going against them, and they were like, "Oh no, you
And
going
sometimes
against."
that's overshadowed by the assassination.
Exactly, and
And I
that's
think
what
that's
I'm
what it
saying.
is,
Right,
because
because
it really-
nobody remembers what he was doing.
Yeah.
The work, the good work that he was
He
doing.
was. He was
He
definitely
was
putting in
doing
good
good work, and they
Definitely
killed him,
was.
and that's what everybody remember about him, the assassination. Just like with did you see when Dick Gregory was telling the story about the man? He was like,
I missed the documentary.
oh, you see, okay, so Dick Gregory said the dude had told him, I stepped out the way so they can take the shot. Black dude, black man said this.
Yeah.
I stepped out the way so he can have a clear shot.
I heard
You know what
that.
I'm
I
saying?
did
So
that.
y'all knew this shit was about to happen.
Yeah. That's why
The work he was putting
that's why I
in.
say Jesse had the opportunity to jump in front of the bullet.
He wasn't gonna do it. Right.
Because the way the angle that he would have jumped in front of it may not have killed him. He would have been wounded.
Right.
But he would have still been here.
But you know he wasn't gonna do that. It just, just the nature. I mean, I don't know him, but we ain't never seen him do nothing, courageous. But it's like, what's the other buddy name? I'm gonna tell you. Damn. Cause this me right here. I talking about all that shit.
So I got a great one for you.
Okay.
Punchy Carter.
Oh, wait, before we get to him, I remember it. MLK was becoming more like Malcolm X in his last days.
Really?
Have you heard his last 2 speeches?
I did, yes.
The last 2 speeches.
Yes.
He was talking about violence.
He was talking about the way he leading his people to slaughter and stuff like that.
He said this, bro. He realized the way he was leading his people was wrong.
Yeah. And
He was becoming more Malcolm X.
Yeah,
With his last 2
apologize
speeches.
for leading my people.
That's right. He
This way.
apologized, bro. That's right.
Okay.
Malcolm, he was
I gotta go back
leaning
and-
more
I gotta
into
go
that
do
because he
some homework.
understood that this passive shit wasn't working. They killing us being passive.
Yeah.
So he started
Yeah.
understanding, like, hold on, this shit Malcolm X talking about, yeah, this is the way we, you know what I'm saying? So he admitted, like, hey, I'm leading y'all the wrong way.
Okay.
They were like, oh, no, wait a minute. We can't let him keep saying this.
Yeah, when they were gonna try to get him anyway because he was too powerful.
Too powerful.
Okay, so I don't know if y'all are familiar with Bunchy Carter.
I've heard the name, but I'm not too.
Okay. UCLA, Black Panthers had a speaking.
Go ahead.
Bunchy Carter was the speaker who was supposed to speak, but they assassinated 2 Black Panther members that day. He was the second member they assassinated.
Oh.
But his role in society, where gangs fell off, he had the streets. He was that guy.
Okay.
He was he, more or less he was the king of the streets. And
Wow.
he had like the Crips and Bloods before they were Crips and Bloods.
Gotcha.
He had all them.
Gotcha.
And if he would have got to speak, his voice, his teaching, his mentality was powerful. It was one of those.
They listen to him.
I gotta get behind it and take a call to action.
Right.
But because they assassinated him, his legacy never began. So do you feel like that can happen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Which is like to go back to what we said a few minutes ago, people are scared to rise up and do that now. You know what I'm saying? They scared because they understand you're gonna get killed. You're gonna reach a certain point,
right?
And they coming to get you.
And then it's like, and then it's like once you go, and especially this day and age, once you go, then what? Nobody's gonna try to ride. Nobody's gonna, you know.
Right.
So can you have a legacy today without being a victim?
And that's a hard question as a black person. That's a really, really hard question, people, because it's like, can we? We can. It's possible, but it's hard because even with, let's say, Jay-Z, or Michael Jackson, or Bill Cosby, perfect example. Look at all the good stuff Bill Cosby did, and then you throw this on top of him, right? Now, this is my opinion on this case. He did what they were doing back then. No different than nowadays somebody passing a blunt to somebody else. Passing the blunt. They were passing Quaaludes around back in the day like it was tater chip. So you can't say he drugged nobody. And also, half of the women came out was lying. Later on admitted to lying. Later on admitted to being paid to lie.
I think
and then he got out because, my bad, bro.
No, go ahead.
Because
No,
he signed, Bill Cosby signed a document saying he could never be charged for that case again, which is why he was let out of jail. That's why he was let out of jail, because they said that the paperwork was lost. But do you know?
So basically, he signed a business plea.
Back in the first time, in what, 94 or whatever, 98? Yeah, he signed it then. When he said he was guilty, he signed off, and they said, if you plead guilty now, we can never charge you again with this.
right.
And then they did, and had him in jail for 2 years before the paperwork resurfaced, and they let him out. But guess what they did before they let him out? Offered him a deal saying, if you sign up as a sex offender, we'll let you out. Knowing they had to let this man out anyway. So their last ditch effort attempt to make him out to be something he wasn't failed. Because he told him, I do every day of this 10 years before I signed up as a sex offender.
Yeah, he did.
And I don't blame him for that, because I wouldn't sign up as a sex offender if I didn't do it either.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and this was, they knew they had to let him out, and they tried this 2 months before they had to let him out.
Okay.
I said, oh, that's dirty, because his legacy was too strong.
I believe no black great anybody to be, and I hate to do the race thing, but I gotta be real. I think if you, in the society with the higher ups, if you want to be black and great, you gotta have a smudge on your name, and I think they put those in place sometimes. I really think, I think they find out what you do, what's your little kinky secrets or whatever, and they play to that. And then they're like, okay, yeah, you can be great, do your great thing, but the world, this gonna be on you though. It's gonna be an asterisk by you.
Yep.
And if you think about anybody who's tried to done something great, African American or whatever, they have a smudge by their name in some way. Just like this, the young lady that's running. I believe this is all a ploy too. They know she's the fastest person in the world.
Oh, Sha'Carri.
And they know this. But
Yeah.
hey, we're gonna let you be great. But first off, you gotta get this smudge by your way.
I mean, but she did that to herself.
But
Like,
How many
okay, so
people smoke?
so I guess,
I got a lot
can
to
you,
say on that one.
do you believe that someone can tarnish their own legacy?
yes, of course. Of
So
course.
if you believe that this person, Sha'Carri, I ain't gonna call her this person, I'm gonna give her respect. Sha'Carri tarnished her own legacy.
But they cover up everything. They can cover up anything else. They covered up Jerry Lee Lewis marrying that 12-year-old girl. They cover up Elvis doing all this. They cover these things up. So you mean to tell me if she meant something to America and the Olympic team, they couldn't cover it up? I'm not saying it's right to cover it up, but what I'm saying is this: if they mean something to them, they don't cover that shit up.
And he know my thoughts on this one, right? I call it straight down the middle. She shouldn't have did it. Period.
Well,
She
for
shouldn't
sure.
have did it. Now I understand that
Why?
her mom passed.
Right.
I can't sympathize because my mom is still here, but I empathize
mom's
with her.
passed,
You know what
so
I'm
I
saying?
feel it, I feel
So, but it's like in the state she was in is legal,
It's legal.
but the sport that you play is illegal.
I understand that too.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like
I get
it's,
that
it's
as
one of
well.
those things where, and also let me say this because I just recently found out that there's another woman on the Olympic team that endorses CBD.
Yes.
But it's not THC.
It is not THC though. So it's like, damn, it's Delta 8. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, damn, she can endorse this, but she can't do this. And
Well,
ironically,
for those that don't know, explain what Delta 8 is.
okay, so Delta 8 and Delta 9. Delta 8 makes it illegal to sell. Delta
Yeah.
9 is enough of a
THC content.
THC content and enough to affect your brain, your mental. So you have D8 and D9. Anything you see in the gas station is D8. Delta 8. It's a triangle and an 8. That's D8, that's CBD, a body high. D9 is THC, is a head high. The stuff you get on the street. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but there's another Olympic athlete who endorses and says all the time she used CBD during her training. And I just read it like,
not illegal,
and it's not illegal, right? And that's what most folks was hitting on. But you know, like I said, man, you talked about it.
She did make a mistake.
She made a mistake, and ironically, they paid for it because they lost today.
Yeah.
They lost today. The Jamaicans whooped their ass. The Jamaican girl set an Olympic record today. Absolutely, and I can almost guarantee if Sha'Carri was there,
It wouldn't happen.
it wouldn't have happened.
You don't think so?
I don't
No.
think so.
That girl's fake.
That
Come
girl.
on now.
Okay,
Don't do
What's
it.
his name? What's his name? What's his name?
Usain Bolt.
Yes, he's from Jamaica.
But let
So
me
you
say
don't
this.
think he can train people to run as fast as him?
But let me tell you this: the
My
time
girl's going in.
that she ran, right, which was a 10.61, Sha'Carri ran that.
Yeah.
That tell you everything right there. She ran a 10.61.
Right.
So if she was there, she would have put that girl to the ultimate test. You know what I'm saying? With blue hair and long nails, she would have ran her ass down.
I think she should
You know
have
what I'm
been. She got punished. They did her 30 days.
Right.
And I think them not picking her for the Olympic team.
That
was
was-
just smacking her face. That was
That
BS.
was, it was BS. It was BS because she
Michael
served her
Phelps
30
could
days.
swim still.
Now-
He served his little suspension. He got to swim.
But, and I want to say the only thing I got to say about Michael Phelps is he didn't fail a drug test.
That's true.
That's the only thing. But they seen him smoking weed. He had the pictures with the bong and the mask.
Yeah.
He didn't fail the drug test.
That's true.
So
I
that's
agree.
the only
I
caveat.
mean, so you can't punish somebody that didn't fail.
That is true because he didn't do it when it was time.
That's right. That's right.
But he didn't lose endorsement. He lost endorsements though.
I
'Cause
mean, he
folks
lost a
like,
lot of stuff.
Yeah.
He got a commercial about mental health now.
that's right. That's right.
But
Oh, he can't. He got it all back. Yeah.
But my point in that saying,
They boys. You know what I'm saying?
my point in saying that is, you
That's
got.
what I'm saying.
We get it back. We get it back. So I'll jump on until you get it back. Just cut me off. She's gonna get it back, right? Sha'Carri is not done by a long shot. After the Olympics, they have races like 2 months later, I think.
Oh, yeah,
before they
she
go.
gonna do it.
She finna whoop everybody ass. Why? She finna come back.
Okay, why you getting it back? Let's piggyback off my point about the smudge. Simone Biles has done nothing wrong.
Oh man,
Has
we talked
not
about that yesterday.
has not done nothing wrong. Was getting mistreated by someone who was supposed to be her coach and do all this. She is the greatest gymnast of all times. And they penalize her because other gymnasts cannot do the moves she do because it would be catastrophic to them. And they
We talked
say
about this,
any
yeah.
move she does, she's not going to get rated at the highest. She's only going to get rated on the moves that everybody else can do.
Right.
If that ain't
Right.
holding us back,
Absolutely.
or trying to put a smudge on us, I don't know what is. Okay,
Now-
so let's throw away the weed thing. Okay, she smoked weed, she shouldn't have did it. Why are they doing this to Simone Biles thing?
Now look, I want to say this about
Tarnishing their legacy.
Simone Biles and this
Okay, hold
is
on.
Biles.
We got to know. We got a message. Hold on. I want Aliko the gut to lead me. What is the topic? The topic, Kenya, is if you knew how fast people forget you
Dead.
when you die, people will stop impressing other people. And the conversation kind of took a life of its own and went wherever it went. I get my question. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So Michael Phelps didn't get caught. So would you say he's smart enough to know that he shouldn't have did it? Whereas Sha'Carri's like she's immature and unknowledgeable enough to say that she shouldn't have did it because she's young.
I'm a conspiracy guy. I think it was all part of the plan.
I think I think it was just an untimely situation that happened to her with her mom passing, and the way she found out during the interview by a reporter.
Yeah.
That's how she found out. The reporter was like, "So how do you feel about your mom passing?" She was like, "What?" So she found out on there
Yeah.
with all of us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a major shock.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's a shock.
Yeah,
so
I can't-
she get a pass for that, in my opinion, right?
Yeah, I get that.
I think so too.
Going back to Simone Biles, and we just had a conversation the other day. All of us had a conversation, and it was a good one.
Yeah.
I think she quit on the team. This is my opinion. If you start a game, if you start an event, if you start something and you walk out, you quit on your team.
Or
Now,
if you commit to
or you commit to it,
situation
right.
and you don't show up,
you quit. But now let me say this: she is dealing with the ultimate amount of pressure because even they showed on the Olympics, she was walking away and the cameraman was following her in her face. So the pressure is there. But if you take 2 jumps, you win this game. You in this, meet. You in this event.
So how much do you have to put on? How much do you have to give up for the team backs you?
Now I agree with that too.
Because one thing about gymnastics, you guys can look this up. So it was a gymnastics girl. She did a stunt and she landed on her neck and she's paralyzed. So if your mind's not if your mind's not fully focused in gymnastics, when you're in the air, you get this thing called the spins.
Yeah.
And you forget what you're doing in the air.
And you don't know how to land.
So for her to step back and be like, yo, I'm not mentally right.
That's what I was thinking about.
I'm gonna save my life. And that girl even said, the girl that, I forget your name, I'm sorry, that was paralyzed, she was like, I agree with you 100%. Mental health is very important.
I agree.
When doing those stunts. But at the same time, I get what you're saying. Oh, she bad that if you show up. But at the same time, what have her team did for her? Why ain't they going to bat for her?
Okay, now, and I agree, but unfortunately, she got 3 teammates who are rookies, and she was tutoring them. So let's say hypothetically, if Michael Jordan is tutoring 3 rookies and he quit, what are you teaching to them?
Okay, let's go a step farther. What is the Olympic Committee teaching them? Let's say Michael Jordan was teaching me, and he was let's take it back. Steph Curry, best 3-point shooter ever, right? Let's say the NBA say, boy, you shoot too good, you can't shoot no more threes, no more.
Right.
Because nobody else can shoot threes like you. What is that teaching me as a youngster? It's teaching me, I don't know. It's teaching me, I don't really have to try because they're going to be like, hey, you're the best. You don't have to be the best. You just have to be good enough to make it. Because they're penalizing her for being the greatest gymnast. And that's what it's supposed to be.
Well, okay, I feel you on that one, but I'm saying as far as her quitting, I mean not quitting, but you know what I'm saying, walking away. Yeah, it is for mental health. Right. It is, and I agree with that. But I'm saying it's like, even though it's for a good reason, we have to understand that and we have to call that out. We have to. It is for mental health, and that's true, and I get it. But you did quit on your team. She did, and we have to call that what it is. She quit on the team. She quit on. She knew she wasn't feeling well. She knew the mental. Listen, if I had mental issues to that point, I know before I get to China or wherever the Olympics is at, that I ain't feeling right. I know it in place. I ain't feeling right.
Hold on. With mental illness, it can snap off. But I said to say this. So if a person has a mental illness, they don't know, right? They may not know because you have to be diagnosed. You have to go to the doctor. Most black people won't go to a doctor that tells you that.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's one.
That's true.
2, let's say a person has a mental illness and they don't know it, and get in a situation they black out. During this blackout, they kill somebody. You can't say, well, you knew something was going to happen, so you shouldn't have went outside.
And let's bring it full circle to the topic.
You're right. That's true.
Does her walking away from this tarnish her legacy?
It puts a smudge on it that you were talking about. It puts that smudge on it. It doesn't tarnish it because she is by far the greatest, by far. But now they can say she's the greatest and she quit on the team.
But see, I don't think she quit on her team though, because I didn't see her team in no way, shape, form, no coaches come to her defense or say anything.
No, and I agree with you all on that. But like me and him were talking about, when she quit, they was in silver.
Yeah,
they stayed in silver. They was not gonna win without her.
Right. But they was penalizing her for doing moves nobody else could do.
I mean, but they've been doing that. So
and they took her off the ADHD medicine.
They did. They sure did.
Oh, for real?
Yes. Yes.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I had no idea about
Would you like
that.
to come on camera and speak your mind?
That's just all. I'm listening, but they did take
They
her
did.
off.
I forgot about that.
They
They did.
took her off ADHD meds, y'all. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. We get information from back. I appreciate that.
But that's what I'm saying too. Where's the help? Where's the help for her? Like, they expect her to do all this and this also for your country, this for your country.
And the conversation we had yesterday about that was, so is it that she didn't, okay, do you blame the mental illness or do you say she quit for the simple fact she endorsed the GOAT? She put it on top.
She is that.
She is that.
She endorsed the GOAT.
She is that.
Let's talk about that.
She is the GOAT.
So can you call yourself the GOAT, or should you be labeled the GOAT by the analysts and the media? And
men lie, women lie, numbers don't.
Right.
Everything about her numbers says she's the GOAT. She don't gotta put no GOAT on her uniform.
And that's what I'm saying.
She is the
But
GOAT of women's gymnastics.
Oh, I agree by far. Like I said, no one would ever probably catch her or surpass her. But let me say this: if LeBron did that, they'll crucify him. Talk about quit on his team. They would crucify LeBron for quitting on his team, and they crucified him when he did.
They did.
Right? Even though he said he had a valid,
they spent that news hour talking about LeBron instead of how well what's his name?
Kyrie?
No, the light skinned boy, Devin Brooks. They spent the whole hour talking about how bad LeBron did not show up for the Lakers, whether than how good Devin Booker played that game.
Right. Absolutely.
So yeah.
That comes with being the GOAT.
And that's what I'm saying.
That comes with being great.
And when LeBron called himself the GOAT, even Michael Jordan laughed at him. They had a clip of Michael Jordan watching the video of LeBron saying this and laughing at him. Laughing at him.
But you can't deny what Simone Biles.
No, she's the greatest.
I'm sorry, I'm saying her last name.
Biles.
Simone Biles. You can't.
No one can ever surpass what she did.
So okay, let's just say this. All right, let me play devil advocate on this. All right, let's just say she didn't quit on the team, right? And she goes out there, her mind's off, and she falls and she breaks her neck. Then what?
Is she still the greatest?
Then what?
But this Olympics didn't make her the greatest.
No, I'm saying. Like he said, if she falls, then what?
What does that mean?
She ain't coming back next year.
Right.
I mean, in the next 4 years.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you have to sometimes you have to protect yourself.
So you gotta say like my man said earlier tonight. He said Muhammad Ali didn't become great till he couldn't talk. He didn't get to the point where he couldn't talk until he was fighting too many fights.
Right.
Taking too many blows to the head.
That's right.
When he first decided to walk away, because he walked away and came back several times. When he first walked away, he was in the top of his prime. He got hit, but it was okay enough hits. When he came back to second and third, it was questionable. Like, should you really be doing this?
Right.
When he came back the last time, they were like, man, please don't do this.
Right. Don't do it.
And he did it anyway.
When he fought Sonny Liston.
And they were like, please don't do it.
Right. Yep. And then Mike Tyson went and beat the brakes off Sonny Liston for him.
Riddick Bowe.
Riddick Bowe?
Was it Riddick Bowe? Yeah, Sonny Liston was the first one he fought. Remember, he was one of the greatest.
It was. You know what I'm saying? Didn't Mike Tyson beat Sonny Liston and Muhammad Ali?
Mike Tyson beat Riddick Bowe for him.
Oh, Riddick Bowe.
Yeah.
Okay. I knew it was somebody. Muhammad Ali was in the ring and told Mike Tyson, "Get him." Like, gave him a hug. Like, give him a beat. Yeah. Okay. I knew it was one of them. One of them boxers.
But like, if we're going back to legacy, sometimes you have to save your legacy, and I think what she did was to save her legacy, like to save herself in the long run. And I believe that's not being selfish. It goes back to what you said. Wow, full circle. That's crazy. If she would have stayed, she would have been doing that to impress, and she could have got hurt.
Good point. Good point. Good
Remember
point.
what I said? Once you start doing that
to impress,
then you're doing it for the wrong reason. Her legacy is to be the greatest gymnast, so whatever she has to do that, she's doing. And being the greatest is telling, and that's probably telling some of these young kids, hey, sometimes you got to step back and step away.
All right, we got two comments. Somebody probably forced her to quit. Them billions at play. You all was speaking about leaders, and that gentleman I mentioned, Mr. the GOAT, the smart billionaire, richest in all Africa. I want him to lead me. $11.7 billion. The Aliko Delago. He's a richest man in Africa.
I know you're talking about. I've heard him. Yeah, I've heard of him. And she said that's what she wants to lead him?
That's what she wants
to lead her, probably. Okay. I mean, hey, everybody find that they own, idols to.
To me, money don't make you a GOAT to me. Don't make you legendary to me.
Not at all.
Because you can be money and have money and be shiesty in a mug and
don't be miserable.
Or be miserable.
Right.
No disrespect to you. I understand whatever you feel. That's how you feel, and I'm with you 100%.
Right.
But to me, you don't have to have money to be legendary to me or be a GOAT to me. Or to lead.
So, and I wanna keep it on this same topic, but I'm gonna switch the subject.
Okay.
I mean the character. Excuse me. The what do y'all think the legacy is of the Haitian president who was assassinated?
Well, Haitians have a bad name to begin with.
Right, which is not earned. It's falsely put on them. But I know a lot of Haitian folks.
But the Haitians also were the only African culture to ever beat the French in a war.
If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be free. If it wasn't for Haiti had a revolution before us.
Right, but their
John Baptiste.
revolution wasn't to free us.
No. It wasn't to free us, but I'm saying it inspired. Like we talk about this seed is planted for this person, for this person.
Yeah,
And
but
we seen what they did,
It
and we
didn't
was like,
inspire
okay.
us enough because we still had us fighting against us in the Civil War
Well, that's
to keep us.
Absolutely,
To keep
absolutely,
us like that.
absolutely.
We had us fighting against us.
Not knowing no better. Yeah, I agree, and you're right. But it kicked off the whole freedom and all this other stuff kicked off with Haiti.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It kicked off with Haiti.
Well, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, do you have any closing words you'd like to say?
I love everybody.
Okay. How about you, my
I
man?
want to thank y'all fellas for having me. Hopefully we can do this again.
Yes.
You were a great guest.
Yeah,
we
man.
appreciate you,
To
man.
close on the comment, my final thoughts on that is just no matter whatever you do, man, do it for what you're doing it for. And once the lines get blurred, then you got to question what your legacy is gonna be.
Shout your people out too.
Oh yeah, shout out Elevated Underground, shout out my group of strangers, shout out Hoodie Season. You can catch us on everything. Just type in Elevated Underground. You can catch us Hollywood Beach, man. Shout out my brothers, and I'm gonna see y'all again.
All right.
All right, and I'm your host, Dis, but before I leave, I want y'all to know this might have been a discussion that y'all not normally used to, and we might have talked about some topics that y'all really weren't into. But please stay with the channel, rock with us.
Absolutely, yes.
We love y'all.
Yes.
I'm your host, Dysfunctional's World.
It's your boy Said, aka Mr. Let's Talk on YouTube.
And I'm Hollywood Meech. You can follow me on Instagram at Hollywood_MEECH313.
And with that being said, y'all have a wonderful night. Peace.
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 We out.
That
Absolutely.
was a super dope discussion.
Man. That's what I'm talking about.
I like that.
Ladies